Welcome back to Chat Room. I'm with my co host.
Hey, Michael here.
Okay, so for today's topic, we're talking about do you need a smartphone in 2022 as an adult? And I'm going to let you go first, Michael, on your opinion on that.
Yeah. So I love my smartphone and I definitely do so much with it, even in my job. It doubles as a really handy camera. But I'm going to say I wish the answer was different, but yes, you definitely need one. Now, I know I said all that part to say the problem is so, like, one of my best friends has no smartphone. Or really, she has a smartphone but has no service. And I think that's a distinction probably
Hmm.
that for a lot of people may not matter, but I think it's important because she's now having to do things, whether it's, taxes or all this stuff, and she's being told, like, oh, we need an identifier. We need to be able to text you.
Yeah.
Again, she doesn't have service. She's not well off enough to be able to regularly afford it. And it's just kind of a cost burden on her. And that's the problem. I feel that more and more it's good and great for people that can easily afford
Yeah.
smartphones. I think about being able to put in Venmo, money, tickets, but tickets is a good example for concerts. Like I've had to have the tickets sent to me because her phone, if anything happens, because it has Wi-Fi, like it can hook up to Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
but with no service, things can go awry. But more and more, yeah, if you are an adult in this era and you don't have a smartphone, I'm impressed. Heck, the Google directions alone, I don't know how you get around. I did the whole map thing, in high school for long trips. I wasn't good at it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, what do you think, John?
I'm going to agree with your answer a lot, but yes, you can live or actually, let me take that back. No, you do not need a smartphone in 2022 as an adult. You don't need one, and that's a strong word, need one. But you're limiting your life so much. And I don't mean by like, oh, you can't have Instagram, and check it on your lunch break, or I don't mean you're limiting your life in that way. But as far as like news, everyone around you is gonna like get that information so much quicker than you, which means depending on what that news is, you're gonna react to it slow. So, and then like planning events with like your friends and family, whether that's for Thanksgiving or Christmas, those things are gonna come to you slower too. So like with if you have kids or anything and their parents are saying, "Hey, can you pick up somebody from the game, or can you look this up?" You're just not gonna be able to navigate through life like everyone around you, which I think is gonna kind of cripple you. It's almost like showing up to a track meet with one leg. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's kind of how you're like entering life without a smartphone.
Yeah.
You're just limited to everything, and everyone's moving so fast, and sending out information, um, gathering information, making plans, liking stuff on social media, seeing photos being posted, contacting their kids' coaches, their boss. Like everybody's just moving so fast, and to have that internet and that visual screen of information, I think is just huge.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate, I mean, I like your comment about like Instagram. It's like, yeah, Angry Birds, that's okay,
Yeah.
whatever. But, you talk about news, and sometimes that for people just is like, oh, I don't want to read about that. But that's including emergencies.
Right.
Part of maybe how I can pay for my phone is by not having cable,
Yeah.
so not having a cable bill. But that means that in the case of like a weather emergency, I am turning to my phone
Yeah.
and I am watching their stream on Facebook for what they're doing for the cable news. But that is how I'm getting notifications.
Hmm.
Obviously stuff like Amber Alerts comes through our phone. So yeah, I think you bring up a good point. Not to mention, yeah, the family stuff. Man, the number of events I'd probably miss because so many people I know don't use a calendar. And I mean, to be fair, just because they have a smartphone doesn't mean they use the calendar stuff there. You can be given tools, doesn't mean you're going to use every part of it.
Yeah.
But I know people that don't use like anything offline, and if they weren't getting notifications from their family about this stuff, I'm sure they would probably not show up to so many things.
Right. And I mean, my last job, you had to have a smartphone. Like there was no other way to do it. Like that was the
Yeah.
because working at a construction company that manages construction, they didn't build anything. They just managed construction. So like part of your job was to take photos, upload, to this app and whatever, and kind of document what happened through that day. You even had to have things signed. So I'm pretty sure they gave you a smartphone, but like you just had to have one. You know what I mean? So if you don't have one, you most likely don't know how to use one, which was a which was a big concern for the guys where I used to work that didn't have one, because that was the next problem. Oh, okay, if we give you a smartphone, they're like, how do you work this? That's part of the reason why they don't have one. You know what I mean? And they just don't want to learn because I mean, smartphones weren't really relevant 20 years ago, but you know,
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that almost alludes to a whole nother big thing, because technology is always evolving, and yeah, you always have different generations that kind of feel like they're left behind, and you have to learn that. So you're right. If you're not getting to kind of have that at home and learn it, then you have the pressure of learning on the job. And some people, it's just like, no, that's too much. I'm close to retirement age. That's gonna be what pushes me out. So
right,
yeah, yeah, that's tough. And I'm glad you did mention, whether your company did give you the phone or not. That's definitely something I know a lot of companies will do. And, I mean, most of the time, obviously, it's for work purposes. Some of them probably have grayer lines and others as to how you can use it beyond that. But yeah, that's if you're putting that kind of expectation on people, then I would hope that they would also incur the cost. So
yeah.
it's good when I see companies do that.
Yeah, and I know this is kind of off topic, but I think that for listeners that disagree that you don't need a smartphone, I mean, I get 100%. I kind of agree you don't need one either, but to not have one at a moment like today, I mean, I'm being serious when I say this. In 15 years, I really don't think that you can do life without a smartphone. My answer completely changes. Like 15
Yeah.
years ahead, because I mean people are paying for stuff with smartphones. They're tapping their screens up to the chip reader or whatever, and it's just paying for it. They're sending money to their friends for picking up coffee. They're FaceTiming, getting video interactions for all sorts of reasons. Like I saw Mr. Till, I mean he FaceTimed a guy just to look at a job site.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're moving to a world where it's like, what can you do? What can you not do without a smartphone? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and especially the last 2 years where you're doing kind of like you're saying, you can do it with the job, but
Mm-hmm.
doctor's appointments. Similarly, maybe you don't have a laptop or a desktop where you can easily do that, but oh, so
Mm-hmm.
many people have a phone.
Right. Yeah, and it's a good way to kind of keep up with and not have so much clutter in your house. Because imagine like having all your, like you said, doctor, like all your appointments and your papers and all that information just in paper for every single thing, like your last oil change, your pharmacy, your doctor's appointments, your dentist appointments, your tax returns. I mean, all that information. Yeah, I think that's why, like, in our grandparents' house, I don't know about yours, but my grandparents, they used to have books and shelves, and it was all just crap on their life. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, like each app could literally be a drawer, or some apps could be a room. Like
Yeah.
the encyclopedia, yeah, I don't know if you were too young, but they used to sell like whole volumes, like 120 volumes of encyclopedia.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a room there. But, I think about concert tickets, because I love concerts. That's a drawer.
Yeah.
Think about calendar. That's the thing on my wall. Oh man, I had so many others. I mean, there's literally
Photos.
just, oh yes, photos. That's the big one. Photo albums.
Yeah.
I go over to my parents, and my dad loved taking photos, so he probably has an inordinate amount. But there's so many albums. Do we ever go through it? No. You know what makes it really easy to go through photos? The iPhone,
Yeah.
when it already organizes by date, location, recognizes faces. I don't even always recognize faces of these people.
Yeah. No, yeah. So, I mean, the amount of information, and we're kind of clueless on how to live that life. We can't go back now. I mean, yeah, get a smartphone, people. I'm just,
Yeah. Well, yeah, if we go back now, it's pure hipsterism.
yeah.
So,
Well, like and subscribe, and stay tuned to the next video.
Yeah, whether you listen to us from a smartphone or not, we
Yeah.
appreciate you being here.